It is Melody Ann. Welcome to Author Nation Interviews. Today, we're diving into book promotion, but we're also going to talk a little bit about launching your kids so that you have the time to write. Because what we do here at Author Nation is we give you actionable insights and strategies that you can take and use right now to get moving on your author career, because we are here for your success. So if you're looking for resources, check them out at authornation.online. That link will be in the resources as well. So whether you are sipping on your morning coffee, driving to work, or winding down after a long day, settle in and let's talk to Jeannie Berlowski, because she is a full-time academic strategist, podcast host, and speaker for students 12 through 26, their parents, and the professionals who serve them. And she is also the author of the book Launch: How to Get Your Kids Through College Debt-Free and into Jobs They Love Afterwards. Isn't that the goal, right? Love kids finishing college debt-free. Jeannie helps parents set their kids up to graduate college debt-free, ready to jump directly into the careers they excel at and love. Her work has been featured in publications such as the Huffington Post, USA Today, Parents Magazine, and the U.S. News and World Report, and on CBS. And I'm going to ask her about all of that too. Hi, Jeannie. Welcome.
Hi, Melody Ann. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's lovely. So I really want to just very briefly talk about your book Launch, because people tell me I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that. I want to write. And I think one of the big things is there are people at home with kids and they're worried about, how am I going to put them through college? How am I going to finance all of this? Where do I find the time to make the extra money for this, that, and the other? So tell us about your book.
Well, we know that authors need time to focus and concentrate. And if they're distracted by, am I going to have enough money to pay for college for the kids that I love? It can impact how much time they're spending writing. It can impact publication decisions that they make. So the role I play in this is I've been a professional academic strategist for over 25 years. I had spent many years helping students apply to medical school and law school and graduate school. And I took all my clients' best ideas for getting through college debt-free, and I crammed them all into a book that anybody can get inexpensively on Amazon. And that journey of how I got from a person with expertise to a person with a book is an interesting journey. I think that's why you have me here today.
That is. So let's dive into that. Let's start off with, at what point did you think, hey, I should write a book?
Yeah, good question. Well, it really happened because people started asking me questions. People would hear that I had this expertise in academic strategy, or sometimes I would have a good friend and I would say, if you did this, it could save you $50,000. And then people started calling me and they started emailing me and they started going through a friend of a friend to try to get to me. And it was taking a ton of my time to sit with people and explain things to them. And I couldn't continue it. I had a thriving consulting practice. And so I thought there is definitely a market for this. People are quite desperate to hear ideas on how to get your kids through college debt-free, and not just that, but into actual jobs they love afterward. And so I finally thought, if I wrote a book and I could just tell people where to go and find it on Amazon.com, I would save myself a lot of time. And this is something important to me, I would be able to impact the world more. I'd be able to help more people. And it is a joy to me now when I get letters from people that say, I got all 3 of my kids through college debt-free, and I never even talked to you. I just simply followed the directions in the book, and that is a joy.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. So you obviously had some authority and credibility before you wrote the book. So let's talk about the relationship between authority, credibility, and being an author. You had some to start out with, obviously, because people were coming and asking you. Now, after you read the book, I'm assuming that authority leveled up.
Yes, really it does. And because I am an author of a book, I have more authority to be able to speak into national conversations. I have people hearing about me and coming to me and asking me more questions, but now they're actually willing to pay me money to get the answers to the questions.
Right.
And what's things I want to offer for your listeners is the idea of a membership. And
Mm.
this is something that's done through Stu McLaren, who is a Canadian like you. He has a whole organization where he teaches people how to establish a membership where people are paying you a little bit of money every month, and then you do sessions for them, you do teaching, you do live Zoom calls where you're answering people's questions. And so I do that. And my membership is called Jeannie Berlowski's Tribe membership. And that's where I am really able to help people. And of course the book helps people, but what do you do when you get a question? Can you contact the author and ask your individual question about your individual child with his individual disability or whatever it is? And so this way, when people have questions, they're actually able to reach me and ask me a question about their individual situation. And what Stu McLaren taught me was, you think you can write a book that is so clear that anyone could follow the directions, but you have no idea the questions those people are going to ask. And people would really be willing to pay you a monthly fee to be able to contact you on one evening a month. That's been revolutionary for me.
I love that. And I want to add to that. So Stu McLaren, the membership experience, TME, that's what he calls it. Yes, he's a fellow Canadian like I am. And what I want to add to that is this. There are people who are going to buy your book and read your book and follow your book, and they're not going to connect with you. They're not going to contact you, whether it's money or they're a do-it-yourself kind of person, whatever reason, that's it. That's what they're going to do, the book. And then there are people who will, buy the book and think, but I need more, but I can't afford her one-on-one fees. And then they realize you have a membership and they'll say, okay, I can't afford those one-on-one fees, but I can afford this membership. So I'm going to buy that and I'm going to get the additional things I need through that. And then there are people who are going to say, look, I'm a full-time neurosurgeon. I don't have time. I don't want to belong to a membership. Just here's my kid. Get them through college and I'll pay you whatever it takes. So when you have the same information at different levels, you are serving different clients, their different needs, their different time, money, whatever their constraints are. And I just want to add that to that because I think it's really, really important that some people are like, why would they do a course if they bought the book? Well, because as you just said, people want more.
And my line is, here's where I can give you things that I could never cram into a book.
Yeah.
It's extra things that you really need. And it's very time sensitive. When you have a membership, it is January 8th, 2025 or whatever it is. And you're doing something that is apropos and important for right now, right where they are in time. And I also like to say, and your listeners can take this line, it's not the questions that you have that are tripping you up. It's the questions you don't even know to ask.
Yes.
And when you're with other people and they're asking something, or maybe they've got a kid 2 years older than yours, and you're realizing, oh, that's coming down the pike. That's something I have to watch out for. Yeah. And of course, the more having a membership where you're interacting with people, your compassion for the people grows because you're actually seeing actual humans interacting with you and responding. And that's helpful.
And you understand them so much better, don't you? Thank you for that. I think that was really important. So I want to also ask you about, getting attention from Huffington Post, US Today, CBS. Now, a lot of authors want that. And then there are people who come and say, well, if you pay me $10,000, I'll get a placement for you. And then there are other times you're featured. So can you just tell us a little bit about your experience with this media, how you got their attention, and any advice you would pass on to other authors around that?
Well, I wish I could say there was a magic bullet for that. I wish I could say that I came up with a plan where I contacted them. I did not. I'm too busy. I didn't have time to contact anybody. But what I did do is for many years, I blogged on a regular basis. And so I have a website with hundreds of articles on it. And when I'm using WordPress to write my articles, I always use the keyword system at the bottom. And so what this does is this makes me very findable on Google. if you Google why to fill out the FAFSA form even if you're rich, or you Google something about Berlowski ROTC, I'm going to come up right at the top of the first page of Google. So what happens? A Huffington Post reporter is in a tremendous hurry, and she's Googling, and she finds me, and then my website makes me easy to find. I have a press room on the website. So they honestly, all those people found me. And especially, the parents.com big magazine spread where they had a whole giant series of videos and an interview, and it was sponsored by Geico. I was utterly in shock, but it was a lot of dang hard work to do all that blogging. And every blog article that I ever wrote turned into an email newsletter article. So I have an email newsletter list with thousands of people on it. We can talk about how I built that list if you want to, but that is just it's a lot of work, and I don't recommend it. I wish I were in your way.
So question, how long were you blogging before you wrote the book?
I was a lot of authors do this. They blog, and at the same time they're writing the book, and the blog articles become pieces of the book. That is really common. Now, the book I have is very step-by-step. So every chapter is organized according to your kid's current month and year in school. So there's a chapter prior to 7th grade. There's a chapter called May of 8th grade. There's a chapter called May 1st of 12th grade. And there's 34 different checkpoints along the way. And so, and by the way, anyone can jump in at any time. It's not like if you don't start in 7th grade, you can't get anywhere. So because mine is very step by step, I wasn't really able to take blog articles and just sew them together. But as I was researching, because of course I had my knowledge working with my own clients who were applying to medical school and law school and graduate school, as I'm doing research to expand that knowledge and make sure that I'm as deep and wide and credible as possible, I would get ideas for a blog post. And I'd say, oh, what a good idea. Let's write a blog post about why follow your passion is the worst career direction in the world. Let me write an article about that. It's a blog post, translates into an article in a free weekly email newsletter. And then from there, it gets sent out in social media over and over and over again. So not in an annoying way, but boy, you send something out in social media 1 month, you can do it 3 months later. Everyone's forgotten.
Absolutely. Yes. Now, how long were you blogging before you wrote the book, or did you do them simultaneously?
That's a really good question. I think blogging, let's look at it as sort of happening simultaneously.
Okay,
perfect. The only reason that I would blog or have an email newsletter or send things out in social media is because of book promotion. So that's why I started that. I didn't write the book and then start promoting. It was a multi-year process, really.
Exactly. So you've talked a lot about different promotion strategies. So I'd really like to ask, what promotion strategies did you find worked best for launch?
Yes. Good question. Amazon ads. Amazon ads is the #1 best thing. Second thing is BookBub. BookBub has a massive number of readers, and they offer discounted, it's like people can get a little taste of an ebook. And then when people get my book in ebook form, they immediately turn around and buy the print copy because it's a reference book, right? It's a step-by-step. It's not something you just want to be looking at on your phone. Yeah. And I'll say this about promotion. I'm a huge fan of Rob Eager at startawildfire.com. He sends out a newsletter that's, he's kind of in the same vein that I am. He sends out a newsletter once a week, and it is always giving something of tremendous value to authors. And then on the side, he'll say you could buy my little course for $189 that's on how to get more out of your Amazon ads or something. But even his free content is so useful. And I get nothing for telling you this, but that's where I learned a lot about promotion from Rob Eager, startawildfire.com, and Michael Hyatt, michaelhyatt.com. He's not blogging anymore. He's retiring, but he taught me a lot about this process.
Yeah. And him and Stu McLaren know each other well too, by
Like
the
that. Yeah.
way. All right. So did you grow your email list through BookBub?
No. I really grew my email list the most in two different ways. One was speaking. So imagine I go out and I speak in an auditorium at a high school, and the speaking is engaging. It's wonderful. It gives people hope. And then at the end, I give out what we'll call a course evaluation. And it's just a little piece of paper that says, give me 3 words that describe our time together today. And people will write out, it was informative, it was passionate, it was fascinating, it was life-changing. And then I say at the bottom, let's keep in touch. Hey, give me your email address. And I say from the front, I've got a free email newsletter that goes out every Monday morning. And you'll want to do this so that we can keep in touch. I don't want to just be a meteor across your horizon. I want to be a guide for this journey. And so I'm shocked. Everybody gives their email address.
Yes.
And I ask them at the end, once you've filled out this little form, which is so easy, it's 3 words and an email address, would you bring that up to me? And so what this does is in the auditorium, it creates a flood of people coming up to the front. And it's just so the energy and the responsiveness, and people are reaching over each other's heads to hand me their paper. And then once they all get up there, then they start asking me questions, which I love. I actually think public speaking is a lot about it is creating human connection so people can ask their questions. That's and they get love and care, and I answer everything. And so the people are up there asking questions, and they're learning from each other because one person will ask something and another person is listening in. And then I take all those papers home, and my assistant enters those email addresses in, and they become newsletter subscribers. So that's one way that I grew it. A second way I grew it is with the help of Kathy Lowenstern. Now, I get nothing for telling you this, but I will say many friends who are authors, or they own a membership, or they are something where they've got good to give out to the world, and they have been taken by charlatans. They'll get with someone who says, you pay me $2,000, I will increase your email list. And one of my friends said, I got not one new lead after I paid $2,000. And if you've been an author for any period of time, you have been burned in this way. Well, I heard about Kathy Lowenstern from guess who? Rob Eager at startawildfire.com, who I have so much trust in him. And so she spoke on his podcast, and I immediately called her up and said, I want to hire you. I want to place Facebook ads in order to grow my email list. And she has some special expertise. Like, she knows people that are at Facebook. So if you get stuck on something, she can get you unstuck. She was absolutely fabulous. I think she doubled my email list. And she is available at kathylo.com. It's Kathy with a K, KATYLO.com. And I struggled so much to try to find someone to help me with this because it is mysterious. It is difficult. It's changing all the time. And you don't want to just be throwing money at the wall and hoping something sticks. And she has just been a godsend and highly recommended. Those are my 2 biggest ways I grew my email list.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And there's another person that I will add to the list that I trust for email as well. One of the things I do is I connect authors to, if it's not something I do, what I then do is connect them to someone I know they can trust. So I never send an author out and say, well, you should grow your email list. Go figure it out. I'm always like, you should grow your email list. Either I will help you with that, or here's the right person for it. There's certain things I don't do, like public relations, for example. I partner with a public relations person who's very good at public relations for authors. And so thank you for those recommendations. I'll add them to my list as well. And I'll put them in the show notes, because I think that's really important that we help each other connect with people we can trust. It's so important. Okay, as we're wrapping up, if you had to say, look, do these 3 things to authors looking to promote their book, what would those 3 things be?
The number one thing would be, develop some kind of a system where you're contacting people by email on a regular basis with value.
Mhm.
And because people are just going to see you flying like a meteor over their horizon. They're going to see you one time in a TikTok video and never remember you. But if you have permission to enter the space of their email inbox, and they're only going to read it if you actually provide value. Then you have a position of influence, and you can get them to join a membership, or you can get them to jump on a book promotion and buy 6 books for half price or whatever. And in my email newsletter, I feel like this is the cleverest thing I ever did. So there's an article over on the right-hand side. Then on the left-hand side, there's a left sidebar, and it has the reading assignments for my book for the month. So it'll say, if you've got a 9th grader, you should be reading pages 95 to 99. And so all the reading assignments are there. Right underneath the reading assignments is the tribe member area. So it says, tribe members, here's what we're doing this month. We have got a session coming up on if you've got a kid with a disability, how can you get money for college based on a disability? You apply for it differently than other kinds of financial aid. That's what we're talking about on this particular day at this particular time. And so the hope is that all the people who are not in my membership will see that, and they'll say, dang, why am I not in there? I have got to join as soon as the doors open next March. And my doors only open twice a year. They open for 5 days in March, 5 days in September. So that growing the email list and bringing value is, I think, really, really important. And what Rob Eager teaches me is that it's about the relationship. You're constantly showing up there as a reliable presence. My emails are coming in on the exact same day of the week, exact same time every Monday. So I look really professional, even on days when I don't feel that professional.
Yes.
So I think what I just gave you there was 3 things. I think
that was definitely, yeah. Yes, it was.
You and whenever you want to advertise it over on the side.
Yeah. No, that was absolutely 3 things. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I'll break it down in the show notes. I always do a blog post for every interview, and in the blog post, I will break it down into kind of actionable steps for everyone, because I really want people to be able to. My number one thing, one thing I've really learned over the years. This is year 4 for this podcast and my YouTube channel. One thing I've really learned is people will consume content and they love it and they want it, but sometimes it's really difficult to translate that into what do I actually do next. And so that has been something I've learned, that always to give people here from this conversation, here are 3 things you can do right now to get started, or here's the next 3 steps in this process. So important for people. Jeannie, thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed chatting with you today. You have offered so much value. Thank you.
It was great to be here, Melody Ann. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for joining Author Nation Interviews. I hope this conversation has provided you with valuable insights, and you're inspired as well to take some action on your book promotion. I know there are so many authors out there who are saying, I know I should promote my book. I know I should promote my book. But it's where do I start? What do I do? We've given you fabulous ideas here, and you'll find even more at authornation.online. And of course, I always appreciate your feedback and your support. So please leave a review, or share it with a friend. There's got to be someone out there who really needs to hear this. So share it with them. And I want you to keep writing and keep sharing your unique stories with the world. Thank you so much.